Jen.
And I'm Jane.
And we're SpielMill.
And this is our October theme video. Okay, so this is where we pick 3 board game themes to play. If you were to for each one, we act as if you were organizing a day of board gaming around that theme. And then we picked a bunch of games and in what order we want to play them.
And it's seasonal and timely and kind of goes with the general theme that's happening right now in the world.
Yep.
So it is October. There might be some obvious themes we pick.
Yes, there's some obvious themes.
But some unobvious themes, so.
One of the holidays in October is now known as Indigenous Peoples Day.
It's a much improved name over the previous holiday.
And so we picked some games based on that.
We did. And there wasn't a lot of these for a long time. There was maybe one, but they're starting to be a lot more now, which is really exciting.
Yep.
And so this year, I think this is our best crop of games to celebrate Indigenous people yet. So
yeah.
Pretty excited about this group.
Yep. So the first one up is a roll and write game from the designers of Coyote and Crow, which is an RPG based on indigenous cultures. And this one's called Nazi, and this is based on a traditional game, traditional indigenous game, but it's modified for roll and write play. It uses a bunch of D12, and it's basically a pretty simple roll and write using D12, but pretty fun and light.
Yeah, it's got a push your luck element, which I really like. Push your luck's always fun, and the artwork in it, I remember as being cute.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not really prevalent when you're playing the game.
I guess that's true.
Because it's mostly just box art, but yeah.
Yeah, we also implemented this in our roll and write spreadsheet, so we do from the chair. So I don't know that I've set eyes on the actual physical game in a hot minute.
Yep. So, and that's so we can play from our recliners. Because I have an illness,
yep.
So, which I talk about.
And the designer is a member of the Cherokee Nation.
Yep.
So that is our first game for this grouping. Our second game from this grouping is one we've owned, we still haven't played, but really, really want to get it to the table, and that is Comancheria.
This is a solo war game. And so I don't know much about it because we haven't played it yet. But it does have, you playing the Comanche and you're fighting.
It's about the rise and fall of I believe the Cherokee Nation. I looked it up because, like I said, we haven't played it. It is one that we could not resist getting. I think this was our first game that was clearly designed around an Indigenous peoples theme. And so we were pretty excited for this.
Yep. Just haven't gotten to it. We don't play
the Navajo Wars.
We don't play our solo games that much, so.
Yeah, usually we try to play those as two people games. So this is one we would set up and play that way, and we should try to get this to the table soon.
Yeah, for Indigenous Peoples Day.
Perfect.
All right, third up on our list is another one designed by an Indigenous designer. This is from an Inuit designer, and that is Nunami. There's another one on our shelf of opportunity that looks really fun. And we haven't played it yet, but it looks cool. It's based on, I believe, a traditional Inuit game.
Yep, that's right.
And it just looks really cool.
It does indeed. You're going to sense a theme. We have not played a lot of these. They're fairly new to us. And of course, we had that long dry spell where we weren't able to play a lot of games. So because these are newer, they're kind of stuck on our to be played shelf with a few exceptions. So the next one is no different. This one actually just came in and we're pretty excited about it. And it is Burn the Fort. Yep. Unfortunately, the designer of this died while the game was in its final stages of production, but his wife knew it was a passion project and pushed it through. We're so excited about this one. It is what it sounds like. It is about the standoff between, of course, the colonizing American forces moving west and the Native Americans who were trying to hold their ground and keep their land. So really super, super excited about this one.
Next up, we have a game based on indigenous cultures in the Canary Islands, and that is Tindaya.
And this is really exciting because certainly Indigenous Peoples Day in the US started to replace Colonizer Day or Columbus Day. And the first thing we think of are, the indigenous people in North America, but there were literally indigenous people all over the world that got displaced by European expansionism. And so this is, another one in that series of games addressing, instead of people moving in and colonizing a mysteriously empty land, what happens when the people are on the island and the colonizers are the bad guys coming in.
Yep. Which brings us to our last game.
Yes, indeed, which is Spirit Island.
Yep.
Now, this is, of course, set in a fictional world, but we love this game. And you are playing the island spirits, and you are fighting back against the colonizers and trying to push them out of your area. And it's a cooperative game. It is tough. Mm-hmm. It's actually, I think, probably Jane's #1 game, or at
it's
least
up there.
It's up there, yeah. I remember playing this and thinking right up to the last second, oh man, we're gonna lose this again. We're gonna lose this again. And then on the very last turn, which we were gonna win or lose, we squeaked through and won, which is such a satisfying experience.
Yep. And so that is our theme for Indigenous Peoples Day. So I don't know, what games would you pick for Indigenous People Days? Maybe you know about some that we do not. Let us know in the comments below. So next up, we have
Spooky Season!
Boo!
Boo! For which I am appropriately dressed.
Me too.
You're always spooky, dear.
I don't think I like that.
It's your natural witchiness. I like witches, so. All right, well, our first game on this list is a light one to start us off. And it's one we've played both in physical form and on BGA. I think we've played a lot more on BGA. It's good with more people. And of course, with just the two of us, it is what it is. But that is Don't Go In There.
Yep.
This is a nice light game, but I think it's really fun with more than 2 people, although it is playable at 2. And it feels really thematic. You're exploring this haunted house, and it's fun. It's a really good spooky season game.
Next up, we have one of our favorite spooky season games, and probably one of our more intense spooky season games, and that is Abomination. Abomination's a game where you're trying to play like Dr. Frankenstein's follow-up and build a monster out of body parts, and you have to go get the body parts. So you have to go to the morgue and salvage some, or go to the graveyard and dig some up, or go to the alley and murder somebody. But you have to go get some body parts. And then you need ice to keep things fresh, and it's a whole thing. But it's really fun. It's definitely a really fun, extremely thematic game. So much so that you get arrested while playing the game for murder. No, not really.
I was just trying to remember, do they arrest you? I don't
No,
think they do.
They don't.
I love this game. This is actually one of my top 10 games, I think. It's so thematic. The mechanisms in it are really interesting and satisfying. There's a couple of different tracks, and like one is your humanity, and you have to try to make sure that you maintain enough humanity or you are going to lose the game. So if you murder somebody, you've got to do good deeds to counteract the fact that you murdered somebody.
Yep.
Mwah! Love this. Love this game.
Next up.
All right, next up is Whirling Witchcraft. So this is a light game, but it's one I really enjoy. It's actually a really nice filler for a spooky season game day. And it's got some really cool mechanisms in it.
It's got nice table presence with the 3D cauldrons.
It does, yeah. The whole thing, it's a very pretty game. It's got a really clever mechanism, even for a light game, where you have to try not to overflow your pot. If you need, let's say, the blue ingredient, you have to take them all, and that overflows your pot. Whatever you overflow with goes into your overspill area, and that actually can help your opponent. And so it's for a game that is really pretty light. It has some really big decision space in it that I really like. That to me is one of the most fun things you can find in a light game.
Absolutely. Next up, we have another good game with a good table presence. This one's less well known, I think, but we found this. We went to Origins one year. We played it there. We had to get it. It's such great table presence. That's Dead Man's Cabal, and Dead Man's Cabal is just pretty awesome. It's not the best game. It's a good game. But it's got this really good table presence where you have the different rooms around the table. It's got different colored skulls which serve as resources and they dictate what kind of actions you can do. And it's pretty fun.
Yeah, like you said, the table presence, you've got actual bones, you've got skulls that are different colors. Mm-hmm. The table presence is spectacular. It's one of the best table presences. It's got one of the best table presences. Well, all right, that sentence is what it is, of any game. And I do really like the gameplay as well. There's a lot of, again, interesting decision space in there. This action selection mechanism is really cool. And this is a great game for spooky season. Our next game, Monsters on Board, is another game that we got as a Kickstarter and weren't sure what to think of it. Mm-hmm. It does have killer game table presence. Again, you've got 3D monsters that you're sort of moving around the board. It's got that cool mechanism about where you have to like decide how far to go, and you know, you might want to go really far on the track to get the good reward, but that means you've skipped over some spaces. And it's super good for spooky season. There's a lot to this game. It's pretty heavy, but I really, really enjoy it.
It's in principle a dice selection game, and it's got a fair complexity. I believe it's high 3s on BGG, so it's fairly complex, but it's really good.
Yeah, I think it almost looks like or reads like it might be a children's game, and you maybe could play it with kids, but it's a lot more complex than you would think, and super spooky. The artwork on this, the table presence is just fantastic and makes it for spooky season.
Yep.
And the 3D cars, although the construction on those may be a little dicey, but they look really cool.
All right, last up, we've got Ghosts of Candy 2. This is a roll and write game. And this is there's actually 3 different sheets that you can play with. And it's pretty fun. It's a real simple roll and write game. I don't remember too many of the details, but I remember enjoying this quite a bit.
Is it print and play? We got print and play, right?
It's print and play, yeah.
Which makes it super accessible.
Mm-hmm.
And is there a board game too?
There is a board game, but we've never played that.
Yeah, we like the roll and write, print and play, roll and write, super accessible.
Yeah, I mean, it's good, and I'm sure the board game's good. We just don't have it, so, you know.
Yeah.
Can't speak to the board game, that's all. But the roll and write's a good way to end your night, your theme night, your spooky theme night, with something lighter and fun. Quick and fun. So, that is Ghost Love Candy 2. So that's our spooky season games. So, what are your favorite spooky season games? Now, we thought of Horrified and stuff like that. We just thought we'd focus more on more unique choices. But what choices would you pick for spooky season? So maybe be Horrified or something else. Let us know in the comments below. And then our last theme is late harvest. So basically fall harvest. So your late harvest, your pumpkins, your garlic, your apples, you know, your fun stuff.
We started to do a pumpkin list and it was all ooey, so.
Yeah, it was like kind of like, it wasn't that interesting. Then we got a little ooey on here. But first off, we're going to start our day off with a roll and write game, another roll and write game. This one's called Delicious. This is Steve, Finn, and Eduardo. I can't remember his last name, but they designed this, and it's from Pencil First Games, and it's a really good roll and write. This is one of the, I don't know where this ranks in my top 50, but it'd be pretty high. So.
Yeah, I think so too.
And it's got garlic in it. It's got, I believe, kale in it, and turnips and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
Fits well with the theme.
Well, if we're going to do late fall harvest, we have to talk about apples, right? Where we're from in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, I went to school in upstate New York. It's apple country. And this is the time of year you go apple picking. We used to do that all the time. And so if you want to play an apple game, Applejack is the obvious game. And there's our first ooey on the list. When this came on, I think Kickstarter, we passed it by. We were like,
I don't think it came out of Kickstarter.
Yeah.
It was just retail.
Yeah, I think the first chance we had to maybe pre-order or something where we're like, we don't need this. We've got a lot of the abstract games. And then we played it on BGA. This is delightful. The art is so thematic. You're trying to make apple groves of like kinds of apples and be able to harvest the most. This is just a lovely game, and it just smacks of that fall season. So.
And the gameplay is smooth and challenging and puzzly, and it's really fun.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. This belongs on this list for sure. That's Applejack.
Next up, we have a game with actual pumpkins in it, but also has other things like kale, and that is At the Gates of Loyang. So this is basically it's like Uwe is the answer to if you just want to do the gardening, the planting aspects of Agricola. Here's At the Gates of Loyang. So you plant fields full of vegetables, and then you try to provide them to customers and stuff like that. This, like I said, this has a good selection of vegetables in the game, including pumpkins and kale and stuff, which makes it very interesting. So it's good for a late fall harvest game. And it's a good game.
And it's beets too, right?
I think so, yeah. Beets are in the game, yeah.
Which also super fall themed. Well, we could not have this list without Three Sisters. Obviously. What a wonderful roll and write from Ben Pinchback and Matt Riddle. This is some folks, this is their favorite. I'm not sure if I would say it's my favorite or not. Who knows? I love them all. But it's full of all of the wonderful roll and write magic of the cascading rewards that you get. And it is about corn, squash, and beans, the Three Sisters. So it's perfect for late fall when you've gotten your beans, you've gotten your corn. Now it's time for those pumpkins.
Yep. And then finally, we have a kind of a pretty unique game, and that is an 18-card escape room game called The Pumpkin Problem. It's actually called Holiday Hijinks, The Pumpkin Problem. And this is part of a series of Holiday Hijinks games. In fact, they're releasing 3 more, I think, at Essen. And they have them for all kinds of holidays. So this one's obviously for Halloween, but they have them for like Valentine's Day. They have one for your birthday. We played it on Jen's birthday, the birthday one.
In fact, Jane got me the entire set for my birthday, so now we have a full year's worth of holidays to play these on.
And there's 3 more that just came out, so we don't have those. But
yeah. And it was delightful. This was the birthday one. It was highly thematic. It wasn't super hard. I think we burned through it pretty quickly, but we weren't looking for something that was crazy challenging.
Yeah.
It was just a delightful, puzzly little game to celebrate a birthday. And I assume that the pumpkin problem is going to be the same for Halloween.
Yeah, I think they're pretty easy. The nice thing about games like this is you almost don't even need to read the rules. You pretty much open it up. The rules are really short if they're there at all, and you just start playing. So they're very nice in that way too. So they're perfect for those holidays. Maybe you've had a little drink or something. I don't know. I'm not judging. So just but you're distracted from the chaos of the holidays. So these are good for that.
Do you know what the new holidays are? I hope there's a Bastille Day one.
I forget actually. I don't think there's a Bastille Day one.
Well, to the designers who I'm sure will see this, please do a Bastille Day one because that's our anniversary.
Yep. All right, folks. So let us know what games you would pick for late fall harvest, or any other themes, or what other themes you would have used, and what themes you would use for November. The late fall harvest I know was based on a theme suggestion from Jimmy, so we do take suggestions from commenters and we run with it. So.
He suggested pumpkins, and we couldn't come up with enough pumpkin games without making it just a list of Uwe games. So I would love to hear if you can tell us what pumpkin games there are that aren't by Uwe.
Like I found a geek list of pumpkin games, but they were mostly games I'd never heard of and didn't seem very good. So.
All right.
Maybe you know more.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it. Can't wait to hear what you guys tell us. We always love the comments.
All right. Remember,
every day that you game
is a holiday.